We have a quick question here from Stephen who asks whether it's best to start every day with the charts when you do your analysis, like doing your support and resistance checks and your market actor trend lines, etc. Or is it best to start with the fundamentals or your sentiment analysis before you hit the charts? So thanks for the question, Stephen. I think this is probably one of those more subjective things that each trader, needs to decide for themselves. But I would be happy to tell you why I prefer starting with the sentiment and the fundamentals before I look at the charts. And the main reason for me to do that is because I don't want to fall into the trap of having any confirmation bias when I start looking at the news. So for me, because I've been staring at price charts for almost a decade now, it's very easy to sometimes make up a story for a particular instrument where I think it should be going from here just by looking at the charts. And it's just how our minds work, I suppose. We're so used to finding patterns. The moment we think we see something, we immediately start looking for more things that confirms that particular bias. And that doesn't mean that we should ignore clear technical patterns or trend lines or support and resistance levels. Those things are critical to have on the chart. But the way that my mind works personally is if I see the chart first, I almost look at the news and the research with that view in mind. I look at it through the lens of my bias that I saw on the charts. And oftentimes that makes me discount news that is really important because it's not really confirming that bias. Or I look for things that isn't really significant at all and place way too much emphasis on it because it's in line with that bias that I saw in the charts. So I essentially look for things to confirm my bias and discount things that go against it if I start with the charts first. So for that reason, for me, it's easier to start each day with the sentiment and the fundamentals and the news and allow the market to tell me where it should or shouldn't be going, and allowing the markets to guide me on where I should be looking for opportunities, as opposed to having this set idea in my mind, where I think it will be going based on what the charts told me. I can look at the news with a clearer head, a more neutral view, not forcing my own view on where I think things will be going, but allowing the markets to guide me. And that for me is especially valuable when I have a medium term bias on something. I might be bullish on something in the medium term, but in the short term, there might be a clear reason, for me to sell that instrument based on the sentiment in the market. And I might be more cautious with looking for massive downside if I have that medium term bias to the upside. But then looking at the sentiment first gives me more freedom to look for short term downside and take advantage of that if there is anything to take advantage of. But as I said, there isn't any rules with regards to this. If you can start with the charts and take a neutral look at them every day as you start, then that's perfectly fine. I have some chart alerts set up on my phone every day. Before I even get to the screen, sometimes I already know if there has been like major news before I even get to the screen. And then sometimes I'll start with taking a quick look at those charts before I even begin the day, because there might be some trading opportunities when I get to my desk. But in those times, I would have already read through what I needed to know about those big moves on my phone before I even started the trading day, which is slightly different than having a regular process of starting with the news and then moving to the chart. So I do hope that helps, Stephen. Any other questions, please don't hesitate to let us know.